Yes. Generation Zero. Nico, Emma. One presenter or two?
Yeah,
No?
just me
Just
for
you?
today, thank you.
Nico.
But of course, it isn't just me. There are 11,000 people who we're really wanting to represent here today. So I believe we've got a presentation that, if that could come up. Perfect, thank you. So I'd like to start by thanking you all very much for the opportunity to speak to you here today. I'm here on behalf of Generation Zero, which is, of course, a youth advocacy group who really try and look at the big issues of our time by getting involved with the small local issues. And as you're obviously really familiar with, we really try and do this in an integrated way through lots of the different plans and opportunities to be heard that Council has. And Skypath has been a common theme for us, right through from the resource consents, but also through advocating for it through lots of the local board plans and, of course, the long-term plan that we talked about. And it, of course, fits into that wider vision of cycling and our advocacy for more cycle spend that was, of course, integral in the long-term plan. What I want to do for you today is go through some of the really clear big arguments for why Generation Zero supports Skypath and how the 11,000 people came to really get involved in what is often a really boring resource consent process. How did that happen? So what you've got in front of you here is a graph of the timeline over the 10 days that we encouraged people to submit on the unitary, not on the unitary plan, sorry, on the Skypath plan, of how that really ballooned out. And you can see sort of at the 5,000 mark there on about, I think it was the 15th of the 1st. That was actually a point at which our form broke because we were only expecting 4,000 or 5,000 and our server wasn't expecting the numbers that were coming through as quickly as they were. So you can see we obviously got on top of that pretty quickly. But what that illustrates to us is that it really even took us by surprise quite how quickly this really went viral through Auckland. And particularly through young people getting really excited about an idea that really symbolises for them the kind of Auckland that they want it to turn into. So when we kind of look closer at where those submissions come from, and there's been a map going around on social media that I encourage you to look at that's slightly more interactive than this one. But this is the people that used our form and submitted to the resource consent process through us. As you can see, it's almost like the surging tide of people on both sides of Auckland really trying to pull together and what is support for a crossing for the Skypath Bridge. And that kind of sums up the sentiment that lots of people had, and I'll go through a couple of them in a minute, that this really is a symbolic link for Auckland in the way that it connects the city together. I want to quickly address some of the points around where the support is coming from. And one thing that's obvious is that there is a small pocket of people who have some concerns from Northcote. But as you'll see in your report, there are about 168 people in total opposed. That is only 168. Even within our area, even within our submissions, 380 from Northcote are in support of it. So you can see immediately, even within the area that is sort of a pocket of the most dissent, if you like, there is still double as much support for the Skypath proposal. And similarly, on the bottom side, once again, a good 300 from the St Mary's Bay area, as Barbara alluded to before. In terms of what they said, and I'll go through, submitters really had an opportunity to, at length, really discuss some of the passionate ideas. But really what came through are some really clear things, that people just think this is a great idea. They really think it connects the city well together, and it's all about the transport use for the majority of people. Going through some of the themes here, people really describe this as a life-changing connection, and that right up against the harbour bridge, it really shows a more human scale that was really appreciated by lots of submitters. Here's Patrick from Greyland talking about how it fixes a clear gap in the city's cycle network and really heals the severance that is caused by the harbour running through the middle of our city. Once again, some comments there from Northcote about how it connects. But really there was a second major theme, which is that this really feeds really well into the longer story and the long-term plan and other parts of your city's vision, which is to really provide people with transport choices. And as you can see in this little diagram, and lots of the other plans, you've really supported lots of other cycle ways and public transport networks feeding to both sides of the bridge. This is a real critical linchpin to tie all those together. And so if you think about the things that you've already funded on the table through the long-term plan process, it would be a real fallacy and a mistake to take the heart out of that, which is a real community project to tie together the work that you've already done. So the final point I just wanted to make is that we surveyed the 11,000 people who submitted to get a bit more of a sense about how they might use it or how they use transport currently. And on this graph it shows that a large majority of the people who use Skypath are exactly like most Aucklanders, in that they use their private car to get around often. This wasn't just a bunch of young people who use cycling and walking all the time. There's a few of those, but the majority of these people are very ordinary Aucklanders. But when you ask them if there are safe, separated cycle lanes to get to Skypath, how would they get to Skypath? You can see that that private car figure plummets below about 4%. And so what that says to us is that the people who care about this the most, the people who are willing to use it the most, they are planning to get there by bicycle. They're planning to use it in exactly the way that the Skypath is being intended. And we're really excited about that because it really shows in crystal clarity there exactly how people are going to use it, and that many of the concerns around parking and congestion and other problems on each side are completely overblown. So thank you very much. To sum up, I just really wanted to say that this really is a symbol of the city that we want to create. It's a perfect example of the kind of partnership that council can usher together with the community, with private capital, and with some excellent underwriting support from the council. So we've looked in detail at the proposal you've got in front of you and really encourage you to support it as much as possible.
Thank you, Nico. Question?
I've got a question.
Councillor Wood.
Yeah, Nico, you're talking about submissions. You seem to show that there was a limited number of submissions opposing Skypath from Northcote Point. But would you agree that the Northcote Point residents have actually clubbed together and they've done it under 2 or 3 joint submissions? Are you aware of that?
Right, so that there is maybe one submission from the Northcote Residents Association. There's also one submission from Generation Zero, which is our own organisation of support. Yeah. But we also understood that it's important that people have their voices counted in a way that is separate. And if Northcote Residents Association didn't understand that, then that was up to them. You can see, though, that there are still definitely other people from the community in Northcote that had a strong say. And my point through that slide is that the majority of the people that had a say there were strongly in support, no matter which way you count.
Okay, I'd love to actually meet all these people you're talking about, but I mean, you're talking about...
Been emailing you, George.
Sorry? Oh, well, I think... no, I'm serious about that, Councillor Darby. But Nico, you're saying that quantity is the deciding factor and not quality. Because, I mean, you must agree that the Northcote Residents Association submission was a very comprehensive document compared to the scant information that all these people put in, the 11,000 that you're talking about.
I do really think that is unfair. I think you're looking at the cumulative effect of Northcote Residents Association, what they've put together. If you accumulate all the passion that went into all the submissions that add up to 11,000, I am absolutely sure that that outweighs any of the supposed quality that comes out of Northcote residents' submissions. So, yeah, I think I wouldn't count this necessarily in terms of quality. I would count it in terms of passion and the amount that people want to have their say, and that's really clear by the numbers, but also by reading through the submissions.
So, you know, have you read the Northcote Residents Association submission?
Just as well he's not sure.
Yeah, I've had probably a quick scan. I haven't had a full in-depth read of it.
And would you agree they have got some grounds for being aggrieved in the way it's happening?
No, I don't, and that's why I stopped reading.
Oh, well, okay.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Council.
Councillor Cashmore.
Thanks, Nico. So when your demographic of your respondents, your 11,000 respondents, have you got a breakdown of that so we've seen where they've come from, and we've seen how it would change their behaviour dramatically away from cars and onto cycleways because it's safe in a separated lane or appendage. So have you got a breakdown of that of greater demographic on age, gender, so forth?
Yes, we did. I guess the key thing to note there is that they were relatively unremarkable. So it was slightly younger than the general spread of Auckland, which you'd expect coming from us. But overall, it was pretty much matched up a pretty clear picture of the city.
With the general population?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Watson.
Yeah, thanks, Nico. Just in terms of that polling you did, was that in any way linked into a willingness to pay? So were there any figures given in terms of, you know, what people would pay? Because I suspect, you know, that's a factor that would influence a certain number.
Yeah, sure. No, that actually wasn't, and I believe Skypath has done some work on that separately, so you're welcome to look at that. I guess the way that we come at it is that we're really excited about the idea in general, and that is what the submission process was on, and so that's the way we kind of ask those questions rather than getting into the details. It was unclear exactly how much it might be at that point.
But that huge enthusiasm that your figures capture, obviously then you would be hoping that any pricing regime enabled that that usage, because a higher cost, and there is a range of costs here, could have a detrimental effect.
Yeah, we'd encourage them to be fair and reasonable, of course.
Thank you, Nico. There are no more questions except from Councillor Brewer.
Thank you. Nico, I hear what you're saying, that a lot of the supporters of this think it's a great idea and there's a lot of passion. But do you think, as governors of the city, we have enough information in this business report and in our agenda item to make that decision when it's absent of running costs, when it's absent of construction costs, when it's absent of forecast revenue, when the patronage has been controversial at least, and we still don't know what the dollar value of the underwrite is? Do you think, as governors, we have enough information to press play on this when all that critical financial information is completely absent?
Yeah, I absolutely do, and that is because I think these documents that you have in front of you are put together by professionals that are based on patronage that is put together by independent paid professionals, and that all you have to really doubt that is a seed of doubt from a community group that doesn't, quite frankly, have the expertise to give you any evidence otherwise, other than talking about the London Eye. So I think really, I have faith in the documents you have in front of you, and I'll leave it to others who I believe are going to talk in more detail to those about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nico. It's a good answer to a loaded question. Just before you go, can we
Impartiality on my chair.
draw the comment? Can I say, Nico, you guys have been very passionate about this. One thing that's Generation Zero is very bad at is actually voting in local body elections. Can you make sure you show the same passion to get people to vote in the election?
Look, absolutely, and we'll be working as hard as possible to make sure there's enough information for people to vote.
So I'll move to receive this report, and it's seconded by the Mayor. Thank you very much.
Very loaded statements, Mr.
All those
Chair.
in favour?
Aye.
Thank you.